Hello and welcome to FG Rides, coming from beautiful Pennsylvania, USA. Today I'm going to do a one-year owner's review of this 2023 Royal Enfield Classic 350 in Halcyon Green. This is not going to be a very technical review. I'm not going to go over a bunch of specifications and that type of thing. It's going to be more about the overall ownership experience. Some of the things that are delightful about the motorcycle, some of the things that are annoying or any trouble spots. Beautiful machine. Looks like I'm trying to ugly it up with that windscreen and the hand guards, but they are just for winter wind protection. Also don't have the pillion on it right now. I'm in the minority apparently in thinking that the motorcycle looks much better with the pillion on. It will be going back on. I had it off for a while because it was doing different things with the luggage and the shocks, etc. And it's easier if it's off. Also, it's quite a bit lighter with it off. I do like that aspect of it. This motorcycle does not have a name. I've noticed that people with these Royal Enfields, especially the classics, not so much the Interceptors, Continental GTs, etc., they like to name them. I've never named one of my motorcycles, and I'm probably not going to start, but I can certainly understand why they might. And I also noticed looking at other YouTubers, vloggers, that have multiple motorcycles, they might have, 5 motorcycles. The only one with a name is the Royal Enfield. That's a very telling thing, in my opinion. It helps to convey the tremendous amount of character one of these motorcycles has, almost that it demands recognition, naming. Although I wouldn't say you begin to develop mental illness and start thinking it's a sentient being or anything like that, but they are unique. I've never ridden anything quite like one of these Royal Enfield Classic 350s. I've also never had any experience with a battery quite like one of these Royal Enfield Classic 350s. That battery died suddenly, dramatically. No indication of weakness, none that I caught on to anyway. Maybe it was cranking a little slowly, but I don't recall that, and it didn't seem to crank any faster after I put the new battery in it. I also had a problem in the early days, before I did the break-in service at 306 miles, I think it was, where it seemed to have a fueling problem. It would open the throttle. This only happened a few times, but it had a chilling effect on me, let me tell you. Open the throttle, and it acted like it wasn't getting any gas. I've talked to the service manager of the dealership where I bought this, and he asked me whether I had done the first service yet. He didn't indicate this was a widespread problem or even that he'd ever heard of it before, but he thought it might have something to do with the valves. After I did the first service, of course I have hundreds and hundreds of miles on since then and have not had a problem. Those valves were pretty tight, especially the intake. Front brake, single disc. People say they're wooden. I think they're fine. They talk about breaking them in. Speaking of that brake pedal. Really, not the brake pedal, but the arm for the brake pedal. What a complex piece that is. It's one of the things that delights me. It didn't have to be like that. It could have been like every other manufacturer, just a nondescript chunk of metal. Somebody spent some time on that and made it beautiful. I mean, you could say that about the entire motorcycle, but the brake pedal, the brake arm is a highlight. Really a lovely thing to look at. And I understand that they had to clear the exhaust, and that's a part of why it looks the way it does, but they could have come up with a very inelegant, easy solution, and they didn't. They took the extra time and effort. I really appreciate it. There's one of the World Wrestling Federation Championship saddlebags that I mentioned from time to time on the channel. That was once a goat, an Indian goat. I wonder if it had a name. I love the grips on this. I kind of wanted to get heated grips, but I can't bring myself to replace them. The blanking plate for where the tripper would go if it had a tripper. That is another thing that I just love. I wouldn't trade that for a tripper under any circumstances. I love looking at that. What a beautiful blanking plate. Again, they went the extra mile with that. Speedometer, it's crap, by the way. Yeah, it sticks in warm weather. And I'm going to get it replaced under warranty, but I'm going to wait until 2026, and maybe they'll have them sorted out by then. I don't think they do have them sorted. I think you would run a chance of having the same problem if you got it done right now, or if I got it done right now, rather. Those are YSS aftermarket shocks. I did a separate video reviewing those. I think that's the only video on the internet reviewing the YSS shocks for the Classic 350. I couldn't find it anywhere else. The bike does not need aftermarket suspension. The stock suspension is good for a wide variety of conditions, road conditions, load conditions. It really is remarkably adaptive. It rides well, it handles well. Unless you're going to go race it or go rock climbing, the stock suspension is fantastic. The engine in this, though, the engine is really the key to the entire motorcycle. It is, I would say, almost the very definition of tractable. It doesn't seem to complain no matter what gear you're in. It's almost as though gear is irrelevant. As funny as that sounds. And it feels good. It's a contradiction in that it gives good vibrations or tactile sensations without seeming to vibrate. It seems ultra smooth while providing feedback like, I'm down here, I'm running with you, I'm making you love this motorcycle, because without the engine, if you stuck some other engine in that, which is what makes me kind of wary of the Classic 650, it wouldn't be the same motorcycle, would not have nearly the same amount of charm. I almost forgot I wanted to give you a warning about putting a side stand extender on it like that. I put that on purely for function in my soft yard and the other soft surfaces that I park in. The side stand without it is just beautiful. It's just a little dainty thing. Kind of reminds me of a Chinese bound foot, which is horrible, right? I mean, who knew I was susceptible to the sordid dynastic allure of the Chinese tortured foot? But there you have it. Love the way it looks. If you have one of these on, do not deploy the center stand with the side stand up. It can get stuck. And it's easy to do it if you're on the motorcycle, accidentally grabbing the center stand, pushing that down a bit, and you get stuck. And then you're going to have a devil of a time, or you'll have to get off the motorcycle without the side stand down, which is a little frightening. I feel like I could end up, with 430 pounds laying on top of me. Like my 12th grade girlfriend came back for retribution or something. But yeah, it's very useful. But I could almost put a lotus shoe on that and it would look right. Maybe some periwinkles on it. I don't know. I've heard the Royal Enfield Classic 350 described as greater than the sum of its parts. I don't think that's correct. I think it is exactly the sum of its parts. We have to take our hats off, not our grab handles off, which that one didn't come with one, but that's another story. We have to take our hats off to Royal Enfield and whoever had the vision to push this fantastic motorcycle through in its present high quality form. I love it. I would buy it again. But wait, there's more.